Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Vendor List, episode 2. Thank you for joining us. We've got a lot to do today. The people are talking. Shh, it's getting louder. I can hear them. The cries are coming in. Thank you for doing this. We're learning a lot from, we wouldn't have known any of these questions to ask. This podcast has been really helpful as we try to plan our wedding. It's been, thank you to everybody who's listening and subscribing. It's really been incredible to see all of the, just the messages coming in. It's been a lot. Jessica, have you seen them? I haven't seen anything like this. Are you feeling positive? You feeling good about what we've done so far?
Yeah, definitely. There's been so many things that I feel like over the years I've wanted to share and chat about, and it's been logging them in the back of my head. So it's awesome to sit down and get some of that out and chat with you and chat with everyone else. It's good.
We're going to have Heather Chips. She joins us today from Halifax?
Hi.
You're so far away.
I am. I do a lot of travel for my job. I kind of take it where it takes me. So, yeah.
Well, that's good because we're going to talk about vendor burnout today. We're going to talk about how to pick a venue today. We're going to do Ask a Photographer today. And then we want to do Lightning Round with Heather. So,
yay. I'm super excited.
Ladies, there are things that I've seen, and we'll do this a little bit later, but I've seen some drunken guests that just try to be... It's usually the groomsmen that are a little bit inappropriate and kind of tough to corral during the cocktail hour when you have 45 minutes to do 1,000 things. So don't tell me yet, but does anybody have like a horror story from that, or just anxiety? Do you wake up I wake up in nightmares not being able to find a song on my computer. That's a nightmare I actually have.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I normally have nightmares about showing up to a wedding without equipment.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Memory cards.
Yes, or the battery's dead and I'm oh God.
Yeah, definitely.
But first, let's talk about how to pick a venue. Jess, what's going on? You see a lot of couples asking this question. What do you think? What's the best way to, weed out the ones that might not be best for you, and what should we look for?
Yeah, I think right now it's easy to, you've got so many avenues to look at beautiful wedding photos online, and it's easy to fall in love with a venue based on a handful of photos before you've ever been there. And there's just so much to think about. Your guest count, the dance floor size, what's the rain plan like? There's just a lot to think about that, a lot of couples, by the time they get to me, they've already booked their venue. And so, I would love to chat with people about what to look at, what to think about before.
Well, something must be in your brain. Contract. What's going on? You must be thinking about I've got some thoughts for sure, because I know that couples pick their wedding venue based off of a picture that they have in their head back in April whenever they did their walkthrough. And this is the reason that they've got that in their head. And this is the reason why sometimes you have weddings outside in the rain, because they just refuse to let go of that picture they've had in their brain. And when it gets to the day and it's an 80% chance of rain and it looks really dark, but it hasn't started yet, they're like, doesn't matter. Let's just try. Let's just try to get it in. Heather, what do you do in that situation? Do you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That situation is definitely a hard one, because I think it doesn't affect me or faze me anymore at this point, because I still have to show up and do my job no matter what. I think mostly, having a backup plan and having a rain plan ahead of time is always the best thing that you can do. Like Jess said, when you're looking at a venue initially, look at what the rain plan is, because that is definitely going to be a make or break on the wedding day for sure. And I know venues like Shadow Creek, they have an amazing rain plan for their vendors and for, because you can't have a DJ outside in the rain. Hello, Adam, you can't get all that gear wet and all that stuff. So it's really, really awesome when you are looking at venues and they have a backup plan. But my gosh, I literally just had a crazy rain wedding, literally.
Well, before you tell us about that, what makes Shadow Creek's rain plan so great?
It's really nice because they have that porch on the side, which is where a cocktail hour can kind of be going on. You can utilize that for portraits. The inside, let alone, it's so beautiful on the inside. So you can really kind of transform it into plan B, so to speak. So that's really such a big thing, is having the plan B, because I think everybody ideally wants to go with plan A, but you know, realistically, we do better when we prepare for the worst, you know, instead of just like always hoping for the best. So yeah.
Jess, what is something else that what do people not see? What do they not know to ask about with venues?
I would say considering the reception, like where the dance floor is going to go with their guest count. You know, if you've got 200 people and a tiny dance floor,
yeah,
you know, but you expect everyone to be out there on the dance floor. If you've got a rowdy crowd and 200 guests, you need to be looking at a venue that's got a massive reception space, you know, and like how will it be situated? You can ask the venues, like what's a typical floor plan and layout, and how much space does that leave for guests to hang out? And
how about
this?
Going
to be
Can I jump
hiding back in the corner, or you know, like front and center? So.
What about this? Where can my guests go if they don't want to dance? Is there somewhere for the people who are 85 years old and don't want to get blown away with sound for 3 hours? Like, do they have somewhere else that they can go, or are we just like, it is what it is? Because some places it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually ask where the older folks are sitting, and I sort of put my speaker placement based off of that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, folks, if you are putting your plan together and you're doing your whole layout and where to put tables, please, I'm begging you, don't put your old folks at the 2 tables right near the DJ.
Yeah. That's so smart, Adam. Literally, like, so smart.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna hear from them before the music even begins. They're gonna walk in, they're gonna sit down, they're gonna see my speakers, and they're gonna go, "Oh, dude, sir,
yeah,
I haven't even started yet."
That is so funny. That literally is such a great tip, Adam.
Put your fun tables. Put your fun tables by the speakers. They won't care.
Yeah.
We can have fun with
100%.
them. Older folks in the back.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. I've never even thought about it like that, but you're so right. Because I can't tell you how many weddings I end up at, and I see that exact situation. And it would be better for them to kind of have a little more cozy home away from all the beats, you know?
Yeah.
So
they will thank you. Jess, what else are we missing? What else can we ask people? What about venues? Like, what are we missing?
I think getting ready spaces are an important one that people overlook pretty often. You know, you spend a large portion of your day there, 2 to 3 hours. You're getting ready. There's some special moments happening in those rooms. And when they're, you know, computer offices that have been turned into a bridal suite for the day, which I see at like some golf courses and will often do that. It's just, you know, like that's where your day starts. And looking at those spaces and realizing you're going to spend 10 to 20% of your wedding day in this room with your best friends, you know, you want that space to feel nice and feel happy and look good. So,
and I know, Heather, you're talking, what about Heather, your photography space?
Oh, literally, like, I can't tell you how many rooms, and I'm sure Jess can definitely speak to this as well. Like, I end up in, and they're so small, and like, obviously they're supposed to be functional as well. So, you know, there's just like people's stuff everywhere, and like to get those magical shots, you know, we normally, or at least I know I do, I have to like clean up a spot like that's a very tiny spot in the room so we can make sure, and like good light too is a big deal. So when you're looking at your venues, like, you know, if you see the bridal suite and all you see is artificial light, like go ahead and like delete the idea of having like these nice, bright, clean photos out of your head, because yes, we still can accomplish that, but it's definitely a lot trickier balancing the light with flash, and it just doesn't look quite as natural. So like looking for natural light, looking for space big enough that, you know, you can kind of set some things aside of the bridal party so you can still get those beautiful photos with whoever's getting you in your dress and all of those things. So that's definitely, I mean, huge when looking at a venue for sure.
Yeah. Evergreen Country Club does a really good job of that. They have a room for hair and makeup with tons of mirrors and long counter space. And then there's another room for the bridal suite that's just crazy stunning, at like historic suite that is beautiful and overlooks the whole venue. And that's where she can get dressed. And that combination of like the room where you can leave everything when you're done and then move into this beautiful room that's ready for you with amazing light. It's just perfect. Yeah. Evergreen is one of my favorites. So
I love that. That's so awesome. That's so ideal.
I know.
I'd like to ask you two ladies, if I could ask you to build your perfect venue, what would it have? I'm gonna lay out you two, between the two of you. I'd like for the next 2 minutes, build your perfect ideal venue.
Okay.
Why don't you go first, Heather? What's your first number one that pops out in your mind?
Oh, for sure. Definitely would love to have, the perfect getting ready space for both the different sides of the bridal party. So that way there's a lot of space for everybody. Because ideally we're photographing 6-person bridal parties. There are several times, and I'm sure Jesse, you've done this before too, is like we show up and there's 10, 12 bridesmaids, 10, 12 groomsmen. So just having enough space. And like she said, like ideal would be to have like a getting ready space that can kind of be just like, destroyed, tornado ran through, but then a space where, you have great light for those magical, really like beautiful shots and stuff like that. But obviously, great rain plan would be a perfect idea for a wedding venue. A good natural light, no orange anything, because I'm sorry, I am from Southern Virginia, and literally when I say like barns around here are plentiful, I am not even joking. So, and it's not a knock against barns in general, but I will say that it sometimes is so hard to photograph that orangey look. So like nice, bright, clean is more my style, but I know people kind of like a little bit in between. That would be my perfect idea, would be to have it just like super photogenic. Honestly.
Orange is no good? Are you telling me orange is no good for photos?
Ooh, I do not. I mean, I know probably some photographers that are a bit moodier in their style maybe do kind of like that kind of look. So, I'm not knocking it completely, but for my personal view on it, I really love really good light because, it just really kind of adds to the photos, and it doesn't even have to be perfect light, just a source of light coming in that just helps, brighten the room, clean everything up a little bit.
It matters. Yeah. It definitely matters. Jess, give me your perfect wedding venue. What do you got?
Well, really everything that Heather said would be on my list. I would also add to that some sort of nature focal point. Rosemont Manor is a good example.
Which one was that?
A long driveway with tree lined driveway, and then waterfall feature. And
Jess, which one was that?
Rosemont Manor, and then there's Rosemont Historic. There's two. There's like a barn and a manor on the same property, but they share like an incredible driveway and acres of land and a waterfall feature.
I was gonna say, doesn't it have a waterfall? That place is beautiful. I know that place
it's
very much.
Stunning.
So. Yeah, it's got a lot of room for changing too. There's like a whole separate area for the groom and the bride, and this big massive. Yeah, that's a good one, Rosemont Manor for sure.
Yeah, I love it, and some sort of nature focal point where it's beautiful, all season long. So you've got evergreens in winter. And something that's color changing, maples in the fall, and spring you've got flowers. So
can't you just do that in Photoshop?
A little bit. You can add a little extra warmth in the fall, but that's about it.
Yes, that's definitely something I think a lot of people think photographers are, which I think some do capitalize on Photoshop for sure. But like, I'm a professional photographer, not a professional Photoshopper, even though I am certified in it. But it is so different. Like when people say those things, Adam.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
That's something I try to explain in the beginning. There is a difference between editing and retouching. So we do editing. We make all of the the photos, the colors, the light, and things like that look great. Retouching is a whole nother job. It's a specialty of like really dramatic changes and cropping people in and changing facial expressions.
100%.
And it's that's a different thing. So, and extremely time consuming.
Oh, so time consuming. You struck a chord with us, Adam.
Apparently so. My goodness. Well, I have only one thing that strikes a chord with me as a venue. I would just look for something that doesn't have a decibel limit. That's what makes me There are places that have decibel limits. I want you to ask your venues. Now I work at some places that have decibel limits, and we have awesome times, but they are awesome, and I can throw a great party within that. But my whole thing is like, if you're picking a party and you're gonna spend like $40,000 or whatever it is, why would you pick a place where like that's what you're gonna hear crickets
Oh my gosh.
For the most part,
I never even thought about it.
I mean, imagine, put it this way, Heather, if I had to start the show and I usually.
Yeah. Some fun music.
Hey!
Let's go.
Okay, well, how does that go? How does this go over?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Hey, everybody!
Yeah.
Ready to throw down?
You get that
That's
sometimes
so funny.
at like golf courses that are attached to neighborhoods or
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's where the
or barns that are in a populated area, and some of the barn weddings have an early lights out policy because they're next to other people's homes.
It's not that. It is that, but there's also what I'm talking about is people who put a venue in a place like a neighborhood where it's not really zoned by that, but they just got it zoned by the skin of their teeth. They maybe got the 50 out of 50 people to sign, but there are like 70 other people or like 49 other people that are really upset about it. So like if they go 1 decibel over, they have the cops come out. And then you got a police car at your venue. And then I've gotten threatened by venues that are like, if the police come, it's a $2,500 fee and you're paying it. I'm like, wait a minute.
My God.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out. I don't think so.
You're done.
I'm here to party. Let's go. No, but I have to
I
have to listen to them. And the reason I get hired back at those places is because I listen and I do bring it down. And you can still throw a party, but that's something to look for. Does it have a decibel limit? Ladies.
Yeah.
I think
smart.
I think we've created a pretty good venue.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's get into Ask a Photographer, starting with how do you manage the drunken guests at a cocktail hour? Because here's the deal. It doesn't even have to be drunken guests. Here's what I understand and I see as a DJ. We do the ceremony. It was beautiful. Everybody leaves the aisle. The officiant says, now everybody come join us for cocktail hour. And then the photographer runs up to me and says, can you please ask the extended family, everybody, immediate family, please ask them to stay here. Stay here.
Yep.
They don't have a microphone. How are they going to tell those 30 people to do anything? So run us through the stress of what you actually need to get done and why it's important to stay organized and how a terrible photographer can ruin a wedding by being stressed in this moment. Jess, what do you got? You take us away and then we'll go right into Heather.
Gosh, there are so many steps leading up to family photos that should happen that make that go smoothly. A family photo list first so that your couple knows who needs to be there. One of the other things that's important that I feel like I see at maybe 10% of weddings, but I always ask for is have your officiant make an announcement. Once everybody's recessed down the aisle and the last family member or, parents and bridesmaids go back down, to announce to all of your guests that extended family should stay right there, at the altar or wherever the ceremony has happened.
Or just tell me.
Or
just tell me, and I'll make an announcement. Let me know that you need that to happen, and I will happily do that for you. It's the times where, like, why are you telling me now in the moment it, like, absolutely needs to happen with this, like, frantic, they're running up, and they're like, tell everybody to stay here. It's like, I could have made this so much easier on you, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. I think, honestly, I give credit to my cousin. She did this at her wedding, and I've yet to see a lot of people do this, but I think also communication, like you said, Jess, there's so much you can do beforehand to avoid these situations. So again, preparing for the best. So what my cousin did is for family members to stay after the ceremony, what she did was she put in their invites. Just slip of paper. It wasn't even fancy. Those that are all about details, you can make it fancy, but literally it was a piece of like just regular stock paper. And it said, you are family, stay after the ceremony is done so that we can take pictures with you.
That's smart.
So, and that worked so well. We knew where we needed to be. And, having a reminder too from the officiant would be, just killing 2 birds with 1 stone, just ensuring that people are remaining behind that need to stay behind, because I promise you, Uncle Bob is already thinking about his cocktail.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is. Everybody is. So what do you do when, so what do you do when Uncle Bob, Jess, Uncle Bob is there. He got his piece of paper in Heather's envelope, and he's like, cool, I did it. But then, you know what he realizes? I could go for a smoke, and he just trickles away. How do you keep these people from going anywhere? Because I see them, and they're impossible to keep in one place.
They are.
So I'll remind people during family photos that I will let them know when they're dismissed. I actually organize family photo lists in a way that the extended family comes first.
Yes.
So that we can just grab those photos while they're around. And then I will tell them when a photo is done, I'll just read out 6 names. You guys are dismissed. Go enjoy cocktails. We'll see you on the dance floor. And then sort of move down the list that way. So, but Heather, I love that idea so much. And actually it made me think that it would be cool to work with your photographer to provide a link on that paper of view your family photos here, 6 weeks after the wedding day. And then people maybe feel even a little excited that they're going to get family photos.
I would feel like a VIP if I was a guest. I'd be like, ooh, a golden ticket. Look at me. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That's literally honestly too, how I felt on the other side of things, not being a photographer that day. I was a bridesmaid, but we got that little piece and I'm like, look at us.
This is good. This is a good one. That's a juicy nugget.
Yeah.
That's a juicy nugget right there, folks.
Well, good.
Heather
I
Chips.
don't take credit for it.
Dropping bombs. Well then, Heather, how do you keep the vibes up though? Because it is a high impact, high stress situation where you need to get stuff done, but you also need to not yell at everyone. So how do you do that?
No. I think I have mastered this, but I think it's because I've been in this situation so many times. It's exposure therapy, you guys. So
totally.
Literally I've been in this situation so many times. I'm not even joking. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was at a wedding. And when I say that this wedding was just the way that it was set up, literally most of the guests were behind us the whole time we were taking family portraits. So not only was it loud, not only was there music playing, not only was cocktail hour going on directly, and I'm not joking. I wish I had a picture. I think I do somewhere, but I'm not joking when I say they were directly behind us. We're organizing all these pictures, family portraits, all that going down the list. And honestly, I just know in my head what I have to accomplish, per the list that I've been given. So I try to keep just calm because I feel like if I'm calm, the people around me will be relatively calm and just ensure people, hey, we're getting these photos because at the end of the day, it's cocktail hour. Your guests still have to be shuffled over to wherever they're going to be for the reception. And 2, when it comes to that aspect of that family list, keeping that consolidated and knowing that we can get that stuff done within reason and not just tacking on all these things, because I can't tell you, Jess, you probably have had this happen too. When you're in person, people will add family shots in that were never even on the list. So that can take time away from things. But I try to keep it really just calm, cool, and collected. Honestly, I feel like that changes the entire vibe.
Yeah.
I can say.
I actually have a tip.
Please.
A tip for something that you mentioned. For the family photo list, having people add, I find that it's typically the parents that are adding additional family photos where they're like, oh wait, let's get your uncles. We want a photo of all the boys. Oh wait, let me get your godparents. Where are they? So I ask all of my couples that when that family photo list is done, their parents need to sign off on it. And to add anything, to tell the parents, you can add any combinations you like. We'll send it to the photographer to see if we have time. Because I find that when the parents feel that they've contributed, that they've been heard, that they are more than happy to let me take over because they know that I care about these 3 combinations of all the aunties in the neighborhood or whatever it is, I'm going to get that photo. So I recommend all my couples to get their parents to look it over and sign off. And
See, it's so funny you say that because literally I do the same thing. And sometimes you still end up with lists where people still add things on and, oh, look, we're twins.
For those of you listening on the podcast, they just realized they're drinking from the same.
Here we go. Here's the thumbnail.
I love it. We both have green plants behind us, button-up shirts, to give you guys perspective. So funny.
Well, hey, listen. Anytime that you guys hear from now, I just made a decision. Executive decisions have been made. Anytime you hear this sound, that means a nugget has been dropped. I love it. The crowd is just appreciating the nugget that just got dropped.
Nugget.
You've earned the applause. So.
Yeah.
One thing I want to compliment the both of you on that I've seen in action, and it's incredible. And honestly, I respect it because Oh, this is going to sound like a stupid compliment. I'm saying, well, because I do it too. But no, it's the truth.
Give it to us. I'm ready.
Well, I'm the guy who's supposed to create the vibe, right? Everybody's looking at the DJ to create the vibe. When I see the photographer also doing that, it's awesome. Yes. I've seen a photographer who lost her job on the venue list. They were not going to invite her back after they saw her.
Oh God.
Oh, friends, she was not handling the stress in the way that Heather and Jess are just talking about, where you need to be calm. Even if you're freaking out on the inside, you're cool, calm, collected on the outside, baby. I'm having a good time. This woman was like screaming, and I'm just warning, I'm going to be loud for about 3 seconds. This is what she would sound like to people who were just guests walking through. There was nowhere else for them to go to get to the bathroom. They had to walk, not in the shot, just like 20 feet from where things are happening. She'd be like, "Hey, I'm doing work here. You need to get out." I mean, she'd be like screaming at these people. And everyone was talking about it within 10 minutes. Oh my God, don't go out there. Don't go out there. Godzilla's out there. Don't go out there.
Yeah, that is wild to me. I could never fathom yelling at somebody like that at a wedding.
But the two of you, I wanted to say very boldly and clearly, these two women are incredible at keeping the vibe. They're just so calm, even when the guests are being stupid and doing things that we know they're going to be stupid. Like, it's so obvious that you two have been here before and you know what you're doing and you expect that and you know how to get around that. Just like me, when somebody asks for a ridiculous request, I'm like not mad at that. I'm like, oh, okay, WAP. Yeah. No, I'm not going to play WAP right now, but that's okay. What about a horror story though from that? There's got to be something where you guys have just been like, oh my God, I know I'm good at this, but there was nothing I could have done. This was just a nightmare. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah, honestly, I had a situation and love the family and even with what happened, like I didn't get too offended by it because honestly, it kind of was more efficient. Rather than me calling out the names, but I had one of those intricate family lists that were like pretty long and people were jumping in and, getting quick pictures that weren't on the list. And, I really do try to kind of like make a decision in that moment. Like, is it really just easy to go ahead and grab it? 9 times out of 10, yeah, it is. But we also have to just be mindful of time when we're doing things. So I try to, again, stay calm, cool, and collected. But, the mother of the bride just, I don't think thought that I was doing it efficiently enough, even though that I think that I do. But she grabbed the list out of my hand, like, because I had a paper list at the time. And she started calling out the family names. And that was totally fine. Like, I think everybody that was around, their eyebrows were kind of like, whoa, like, because it was kind of a thing, but honestly, like, again, it was like a pick your battle type of thing. Like, I definitely am one of those people, like, my shock on my face definitely shows. So it showed in that moment. But again, I reined it in because it's not about me at the end of the day. And truly, if she can get her family more in line than what I can, and they don't take offense to her kind of like barking like the orders of getting them in and out, like I was kind of just totally okay with it. So it's kind of a horror story turned like not that bad at the end of the night. And she came up to me and apologized for kind of being a little bit forceful. But honestly, again, it wasn't about me in that moment. So, and it worked out. Yeah.
I got to get you guys on this one. Google questions. I had a call not too long ago, and then another call that same week, and this same question came up, and it's the same question that comes up on every call that I have. And I wanted to see if you all as photographers get this as well. Do you get the question when I say to them, Justice sent us a text, I froze. You're back, girl. Are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see you great.
So let me ask you guys this: when you get on calls with your brides and grooms and you say, "So hey, do you have any questions with me?" They a lot of the times will say, "Yeah, I Googled what to ask a DJ, so here we go."
Yeah.
And then I just go, "Oh God, okay, here we go." Now I did something that was the best thing I could have ever done, which is I created a video interviewing myself. I just set my own camera, a cell phone up on a tripod. And
I love that.
I interviewed myself. The same 7 questions that I get when people say, I just Googled what to ask a DJ. And I interviewed myself, put it on my website, and I have it there so that by the time you get to me, you kind of already have done that. And best thing I could have done.
So
Customers say all the time, they're like, I feel like I know you already. So what
love that.
Are the questions?
I'm going to do that. Thanks, Adam.
I would, hold on.
I'm definitely going to do that.
Juicy nuggets. I'm serious. If there's one thing that I could
Juicy
say, I can attribute many of my bookings to, I have had warm leads because people are like, I feel like I know you. That was awesome. So
yeah, that's a really great idea.
So Heather, then what do you think are the Google questions that people ask the photographer, and what are they missing, Jess? That's what I'm going to ask you. Heather's going to take us what through they always ask you, and Jess, I'm going to ask you, what should they be asking you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so literally, like, the number one question I feel like I get asked is, what is my photography style like? And I feel like that question is so obsolete because they should know what that is when they visit my website, you know?
Yeah.
So truly a lot of those questions I think are just like, I just like don't even know if like wedding vendors or whoever came up with these lists of questions, like
people who just got married,
thought about it.
It's people who just got married. Actually,
you're probably not wrong, honestly. But like, I mean, if you're on a photographer's website, I assume you know if they're like dark or moody or light and airy, you know, like that's their style, you know. So it just has always been like kind of one of those weird questions. I'm like, interesting.
Jess, what's a question that they should be asking?
Actually, I don't know that I would say that it's a question. No, I will. The question they should be asking is, when can we meet in person? I feel strongly that your photographer should feel like a friend on the wedding day. And so that starts with meeting and hanging out and really enjoying each other's energy. Because if it very quickly feels like, oh, we could be friends, this is going to be great, then you're going to be comfortable, which means better eye contact. It means more relaxed photos. Your wedding party is more excited to see you because they're like, oh, it's Jessica who did the engagement photos. So I feel like that first, or one of the most important questions should be, can we video chat, or when can we meet? Because what I shoot with doesn't matter, what my megapixels is. You get asked all of these questions that you see online and that just don't have anything to do with really giving you awesome photos. So building the relationship should be the priority that couples don't think about or us to think about.
What's another question, Heather, that you get all the time that maybe necessarily isn't helpful?
There are just so many. Like she said, like, what kind of camera gear are you shooting with? Like, why does that really matter if I produce the art? Like, I could be shooting with my iPhone and like produce a beautiful image. Like, I just don't think that matters as much. I do think like some other questions that would be good to ask would be, do you back up your images? Like, what's that process like, so that we're secure in case something happens? Or, like, I know sometimes too, some wedding vendors, and Jess, I don't know what you do with this, but I'm completely transparent when it comes to this, but showing potential clients full wedding galleries as well, not just the highlights on my website, because and I know some people are very private about that, and I have a few that I send that I've talked to the couples, I know that they don't care that I send them, because you don't want just anybody viewing your whole wedding gallery. It's a private thing, but also it's really important for them to see just how a wedding day works, because yes, those pictures that you see on our website, they are shiny, they're beautiful, they're perfect, quote unquote, for the most part. But seeing how an actual wedding day unfolds and seeing how it's kind of laid out in the storytelling of it all, I think is even more vital. So, yeah.
I would agree. It's so massively important. And I'd recommend every couple, like when we're in that interview process, and they'll like hesitantly ask, like, can we see a full gallery? And I'm like, yes. And no photographer should ever tell you no. You need to look at dance floor photos. Do you like my off-camera flash? Like, do you like my lighting? Because it's easy. And actually there's so many photographers that advertise on their website with like styled shoots and models.
Girl, right?
Yes. I don't have a single one. I have never done one in 10 years and will not start. Like, it's you need to see what a photographer can do with inclement weather on a time crunch with Uncle Bob at cocktail hour trying to get shrimp and the day is just going crazy, and you need to see what can that photographer do in any situation that they're thrown into. So
hold on.
That is such a good point, Heather.
Why would somebody not
full gallery?
Why would somebody not want you to see the full gallery? I don't understand why that's even a question.
I can't speak to that because, like, I just don't even understand it. Like, I don't know why they would not want that to be seen. But I mean, other than not being able to share because, you want to keep it private for the clients. But I feel like it's so vital to see it because, like she said, you want to see how we handle different lighting situations because at the end of the day, yes, I am a guest wrangler, I'm a picture taker, I am all the things. But the biggest thing that I say that my job is I'm a light chaser. Like literally a wedding day is full of having to know how to deal with different lighting situations and making it look true to your work, your style, and all of those things above all else. So it's really important that you see how I would handle a dark and gloomy situation in an orange barn, how I would handle, the not so ideal bridal suite or, those dance photos, like what my off camera flash looks like, all of those things. So it's really important, I think, to see those things. So
I always say there's two things that you cannot mess with on the timeline. It's when the food's coming out and the sunset photos. No one's holding off the sun. You can't. You just got to chase the light. I love that. I'm a light chaser. All right, well, let's do this. Let's have some fun with Heather Chips. Jess, you are killing it over there as always. Heather's doing a pretty good job as a guest. Heather, I mean, you are killing it right now.
Hey,
I was
so excited.
Well, we were nervous because Ricky Lee Mares from last week, she set the bar pretty high, and then here you go, blowing it right out of the water. You guys are just...
I'm so excited. It's so funny that you had Ricky on because literally yesterday, I've never worked with Ricky, but yesterday I photographed a mutual couple of ours. So it was just kind of like fun timing. I was like, that's kind of cool.
The universe is crazy like that.
Yeah.
Let's do a lightning round with Heather Chips.
Yes.
So
let's go.
All right. We've got like 5 questions with you. What is something that has worked for you in your career?
Something that's worked for me is kind of marching to the beat of my own drum. I think for a long time, I got really caught up in the wedding industry and the industry leaders, like photography wise, so to speak, and kind of really wanting to be in that space and not, I don't know. Like, I think I was just like searching for what I felt like I was being fed, if that makes sense. Like, you need to make 6 figures, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I think the thing that like I did right was kind of leaving all of that, so to speak, and just kind of like coming into my own right as my own self, my own photographer, and, capitalizing on what I think is the most important thing about my job other than chasing light. And that's just really, and I think Jess, you spoke to this earlier, and I think even Ricky said this on the podcast last time, but cultivating and creating relationships with my clients, because at the end of the day, I'm not in business without them. So I really, really, really try to be in it for that alone. And that has brought me so much more success than I think I'll ever have. And I think it'll continue to do that because it creates authenticity. It creates just such a good feeling with your client when you feel like, you know what side of their face you're photographing that they love, and like, you know how to make them laugh, and different tidbits about them that, maybe a photographer that's just like not so into it like that might not have. So yeah, that's kind of like what I've been doing good.
Killing it is what I've been doing. I'm out here killing it. That's all. All right. 30-second answers of 30 seconds or less. What's something that hasn't worked for you?
Following the industry leaders. So funny. Literally, that just like has not worked for me. It really just like has not done a good job for me because, it's so like, it's such a world of comparison and you feel like you're never good enough. So like kind of just like unfollowing and like walking the own path has really, transformed that not working for me thing. So
I was going to ask you for a piece of advice, but it almost feels like that's what it would be.
Yeah, we are all on this earth. Don't let me get too spiritual over here, but I'm not joking. Like, we're all our own unique people. So why not march to the beat of our own drum? We don't have to do everything like X, Y, and Z is telling us to,
I love it. Give me a funny story.
It makes you unique and different. A funny story. Okay. So a funny story. I have a 2-in-1 for this one because I think you put horror story and funny story.
Wait a minute. Which one are we doing? Because I got imaging for the horror story. Are we doing horror or
okay. Let's see. I don't know which one to do. Which one should I do first?
Hold on.
I'm trying to think. The funny one. They're
No.
both kind of funny to me.
No. It's time for horror stories.
Horror stories. I
Let's
love
do
it.
What do you got?
That is so funny. Okay, so I photographed a wedding, and at this wedding, a fight completely broke out. And I felt so bad because it was already like one of those just awful rainy days, and just not what I think the couple envisioned. And guests were pretty drunk at the end of the night. Fight broke out. Literally, I mean, it was like wild, the craziest thing I've ever seen. And everything got under control, but at the end of the night, I received my first and only 1-star review.
What?
So that's where this horror story takes a turn.
Oh, this is garbage.
I think that it's hilarious. So
can you read the review to us?
No, because it's no longer there, but I can pretty much tell you what the gist of it was. So I was just trying to be the normal, helpful person that I am, because I feel like when I'm on a wedding day, I'm truly a part of a team. Like I'm not just there doing my own thing. I really want to help and make things more efficient, not only for my couple, but for me. So I'm not even joking. I was just trying to help hand out sparklers. And, let's give sparklers to drunk people at the end of the night. That's always fun. And when I say a lot of these guests were very intoxicated, they really, truly were. So it was like really a trust thing. Anyway, so they got their sparklers. We're handing them out. We were told to literally hand one very specifically to each guest because they did not have a lot. And this girl came up to me and requested 2. And I said, we're only doing 1. And she kind of got a little snobby with me. And I was like, we're only doing 1. And she was like, well, the other one's for my fiance, who like kind of walked up all drunk and just like out of it. And I was like, all right. And anyway, like that was like the gist of the exchange. She was very short with me though. And I think I like was maybe a little too nice, I guess, because I try to be a little bit more upbeat in those situations, kill them with kindness. And when I say I got in my car, drove the hour home, got on my email, because I check them in bed sometimes, nervous habits when you're a photographer and you just want to make sure you're on top of things. But I got a 1-star review from this girl because I only gave her the 1 sparkler, and that I was rude to her and her fiance and all the stuff. And I was just like, are you kidding me? When I say that I cried about it, I definitely did, because it was just so upsetting, because I really put a lot of I think as artists, like we're all artists here, we really put so much into our existence, especially on the thing that we do with our art, which is a wedding day. And for her to just like fly off the cuff and give me a 1-star review, but the funny part about this, the thing that makes this a funny story, is I was nosy and went and looked at her other Google reviews to see like if she was like notorious for leaving bad reviews or whatever, because I had no idea who this chick was. She literally said to me, like on the review, like, I used to think really highly of her. Everybody's loved her work. It was a little bit more of a local wedding. And she was just like, I don't think so highly of her anymore. She's snobby. She's this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, all right. But her only other review ever on Google was a 1-star review for cold fries at McDonald's. So if that tells you anything. So I was very quickly like reminded. And I like to share these things. So I shared that happened, and you better believe the Heather Beehive came in clutch, left me so many amazing reviews, just left me so much like good confidence building like comments on my post. And the groom reached out to her and told her she had to delete it, honestly.
Wow,
and
them.
she did.
Good job, groom.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yes, exactly.
And to all of the Beehive.
I was wondering if your couple came to your defense.
Yes. They definitely did.
Heather, who is the Beehive? And tell us about your company before we get you out of here. I want to hear all about where we can find you.
So my company is Heather Chips Photography. The Beehive, I don't know. My business is from a small town, and literally like my small town has supported my business since day one, 10 years ago. And now, I'm photographing weddings in DC. I never imagined doing that. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. I focus on weddings because I really, truly I thrive in the chaos, the organized chaos, so to speak. So that's kind of what I'm all about is just like letting couples be themselves, capturing that, and just, utilizing. I'm in this space right now in my photography journey where I'm really just kind of trying to exist with what already exists. So the light that is there, the people and their emotions that we can kind of get out of them after, becoming friends with them and all of that stuff, just keeping it really nice and organic. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's my business. I love what I do. It's never a dull day at a wedding.
No, it's not.
That is true.
No, it's not. Well, you've done a wonderful job. You'll come back and join us again. I know you got some big news on the front. We'll see when that comes through.
Do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. My husband and I are purchasing something that we have plans to do something with. So yeah.
Don't give them any more. Don't give them any more. All right. Well, when that comes through, you come on here and drop it. You've been wonderful. We're not done with you yet, but Jess, have we missed anything before we get to? I gotta ask you about frothers too, because we did that last week and then we teased the people and we didn't even tell them why frothers are back and they're amazing. And Jess apparently has a whole Keurig station behind her. Did we miss anything?
I love it.
Did we miss anything today? Jess, what's going on over there?
No. Well, I was going to tell you why frothers are awesome, but I also had one cool new trend that I wanted to share with you that I saw this year and thought it was awesome. Wish I could tell all of my couples to do it from now on.
You want to tease that for next week, or should you tell people now? What should we do?
I want to know now. Tell me now.
I want to tease it, but all right, go ahead and tell them now. And just full disclosure, the reason that I asked her, did we miss anything? Jess is the best co-host. Literally, as soon as we hit stop last week, she goes, feedback, and just hit me with like some great. I've been doing radio for 10 years. I've never had a co-host say something like, how about we have like a Brazilian meat shop, a card where I have either green, I want more meat, or red, I don't want any more meat. Like, yes, I have something to say, or red, I don't. And when we're on Zoom, I can't see the Brazilian meat card. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything on the table for you.
I love that.
Wait, I have something to say.
So,
all
right,
fun.
Go ahead. Give us frothers. What's going on? Why are they back and why are they amazing?
Are we doing frothers? Okay. So last week when we had Ricky on, I got really excited because she was making a coffee. And I had asked you guys if you had ever used a coffee frother. And I know like some machines have them attached, but if you don't have a machine that has it attached, the best $30 you will spend on yourself this year, go on Amazon, pull up a coffee frother and froth your coffee in the morning. And if you do creamer, if you're like a cinnamon, dolce, caramel kind of person, creamer and the milk into the frother and enjoy like just the sweetest, most delicious, fancy cafe latte at home. They're just amazing. Awesome. And then after you fall in love, buy 6 more and just give them to everyone this holiday season as gifts because it's pretty magical.
I love that. That's awesome.
All right, do you want to drop it here? Do you want to give us the juice or we tease it?
What, me?
The tip?
Yeah, the tip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it.
Okay, you're the best. Yes, see, this is why the people love you.
Okay.
What do you got?
So, saw this at a wedding recently and thought it was brilliant. The officiant, before anyone had come down the aisle, before just the officiant had come down the aisle, and he gets down there and he reminds everyone to turn off their phones. But first, before they turn their phones off, everyone take them out and take a selfie. And then you can hashtag it later. So it was awesome because, I've got a great photo of 200 guests all like hugging and selfieing.
Yeah.
But then you also have these like great selfie photos of all of your guests sitting there excited for your ceremony to begin.
Aww.
And then their phone is in their hand. They can silence it and put it away. But I just thought it was so cool. Like a nice way to acknowledge that, yes, you want to take photos and you're excited. Get that photo and then put it away and share it with a couple later. So I thought it was so cool. I loved it. It's a great way to sort of integrate, cell phones. They're at every wedding. You can't make them go away. So like do something fun with it.
Get it out of your system now, folks. Take your camera.
I love that. I love that.
Heather
That's so
Chips
fun.
from Heather Chips Photography. Thank you, girl. You have been wonderful. You'll come back and join us.
Yes. I absolutely will. This was so fun. I want to do it again next week.
We'll
Just
have you
kidding.
back for sure.
But I totally would.
No, we're going to get you back on. Same with Ricky Lee and everybody else that comes on here. You're always welcome, but you really have done an awesome job, and we thank you. Make sure you check her out, Heather Chips Photography. This is Jessica Nazarova. She kills it as well. Jess, I'll see you next week.
You got it. Same time, same place.
Same time, same place, girl. It is always a pleasure. Friends, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Vendor List. It's been so much fun. Make sure you rate, subscribe, review all over Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you get them. If you want to watch the full show, you can always do that right there on YouTube. And if you need the clips, we're doing a whole bunch of clips. TVL clips. TVL. That's The Vendor List. TVL clips on Instagram. That's it for us. Go get married and do it the right way. Have fun, everybody. We'll see you next week.